Welcome everyone. Today we have Clint from New York to VA and
Hello.
Santos, also known as
Oh, I think you cut out, Michelle.
Am I right now?
Okay, you're good now. You were introducing Santos.
Uh, just getting feedback here.
Okay, you're good now. You're introducing Santos.
And we have Santos, also known as Mr. Astrotheology. Today, Clint and Santos will be going through their pre-Morgellons symptoms, as I did on my first live chat. Know that on the second stream put out by me, you do not have to wait to start treatments. I have many treatments available on live stream 2 that you may begin on. Morgellons symptoms are hidden under a mirage of pseudonym names. Now heavily detoxed, I can tell you every issue I suffered from, in a word, was and is Morgellons. It is a long, hard road to recovery, but I assure you it can be done. But it does mean a complete change of spirituality, attitude, and diet. So, what I shall do is hand the mic over now to Santos, who will then hand the mic over to Clint, and they shall tell you their stories from the beginning. So, you're on, Santos.
Well, thanks, Michelle. Now, my symptoms are quite unique. I've never had anyone be accurate with diagnosing it. I've had all kinds of diagnoses, been to naturopaths, experts in their field, all kinds of people. And I get everything from kidneys not filtering properly, liver inflamed, gallbladder, digestion, stomach, parasites, pulse weapons, believe it or not. I've got a lot of targeted individual friends who are suggesting that. Then, of course, there's the Morgellons. People, I've been aware of Morgellons for years. Probably, 10 years, chemtrails, since I started my big awakening in 2007. But before that, I was suffering with my symptoms. I can still remember 2003, 2002, 2003, I was taking sleeping pills. Still knocks, believe it or not, for 2 years, on and off, just to get sleep. Now, I'm still having sleep deprivation, even right now as I'm speaking to you. Last night, I had a magnesium bath because of the itching, and it enabled me to fall asleep. And then I woke up at 4, itching, and I had to have another bath, and that didn't help. I probably got an hour of sleep between 4 o'clock and now. It's 10 o'clock. So, well, I would have slept 4 or 5 hours. Most people will take that and they'll be good, but not me. I need 8, if not 9 hours of sleep every day. Big sleeper. So the itching is always there. I've never seen anything come out of my skin. My skin looks to be pretty good. I don't see fibers. I don't see any rashes, even though I itch all over, like little tasers, little bull ants or little bee stings all over the body. It's absolute torture. And even though this itching is going on, I don't see any imperfections in the skin. So that's the other reason why I've put the Morgellons and the other more dramatic options toward the back. And I've tried to just keep it conventional. And I've tried to work on my digestive system. I've flushed my bowels with a product called Bowel Restore from Kenda. That has helped. Yes, I got some relief. But the fact that my itch is still with me today just shows that it's just not at all healed. Sometimes the itch feels very metallic. I don't know if that helps, but it feels like little bits of metal irritating under the skin. I lose. What it does is it seems to cause an insurrection in my body. The organs seem to create sort of a state of mutiny. For instance, I'll go to bed pretty dry. You know, I don't usually drink a glass of water or anything before bed. Otherwise, I'll be urinating. And so even when I go dry, some nights I still have to urinate like many times during the night. And my bladder will just get full straight away after I urinate and go back to bed. I'm lying there and immediately the bladder is saying, I'm full again. And these are the sort of things that happen to me. So it's like torture. And I don't know where the liquid's coming from. It's like if I have a sip, sometimes if I have a sip of water, I'll do like a gallon of urinating. And then other times I'll drink a gallon of water and I won't urinate for the whole day. So there's no rhyme or reason, it seems. Even when I'm hungry, sometimes I can't eat. I feel hungry, can't eat. Got to force food sometimes or whatever. But everything in my body just seems to be in mutiny. Now, I think that's about the best as I can explain or elaborate for now. But yeah, I've not made Morgellons as the reason for all of this. First of all, I don't have full information. That's why I'm very happy to have discovered your channel, Michelle, and your information and your protocols and modalities, which I'm implementing. I'm also very, very rigorous when it comes to protocols and remedies. I do lots of stuff. Nothing seems to help though. The other thing that probably makes me feel might be a cause is parasites, because I have eliminated parasites. Every time I do a liver flush once a month, a gallbladder flush, I see a couple of small parasites, flukes, things like that. And in my colonics as well, I'm getting regular colonics. Not much with the colonics, but with my enemas at home, I regularly do enemas. And so I've seen that. 4 years ago, I saw a tapeworm with a liver flush that I did. So I'm hunching that I might have one that has been there for years and doesn't want to leave. I don't know. I may not have parasites. I don't know. But I'm open to all options, and I'm working really, really hard to stabilize my health and get better. So anyway, that's it for what I want to say, what I'm dealing with. I'll pass it over to Clint for now. Thank you.
Thanks, Santos. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, great. My name's Clint, and I'm a chronic pain patient for over 30 years now, and also a cancer survivor. I used to live in the United States, and I recently, in August of 2014, I moved to Panama. And the house I moved into, it had a roof leak, unbeknownst to me. They also, incredibly enough, built it without proper ventilation in the attic. So I was being exposed to mold without really knowing what was going on. And it was a long time before I actually caught on. And at first, I thought I was just mold sick when I finally figured it out. It was a couple of years before I figured out that the mold was a problem and that the roof leaked. So the building got pretty sick, actually. We did fix the leak, but we're still dealing with some issues on the building. And I've done all kinds of things to try and remediate it, but it's still not complete. I started to, immediately after moving into this house, I started to have vision issues. My left eye, the vision was really poor in it. So it started off with me unilaterally, which kind of tipped me off that there was something fungal going on. Also, immediately started experiencing testicular pain. And I was also congested and dry, itchy eyes, floaters, became very short-tempered really quick, and that's really unlike me. I had some ringworm breakout on my forehead. There was a lot of leg pain all of a sudden. And, I'm used to pain, being a chronic pain patient for over 30 years. But, all of a sudden my legs hurt all over, calves hurt. I was experiencing stomach pain, frequent and difficult urination. My muscles were starting to waste away. There was random stinging and biting, sand coming out of my skin, like little sand particles. And then eventually there was some black dots that came out of my skin. The stinging and biting at first, I really thought it was parasites of some kind. And what I finally figured out to do to see if there was any parasites that was causing the stinging and biting is I decided to do a ketogenic diet for a few days. I cut out all breads, all sugars, anything that would, be bad to eat, and just ate healthy, started eating healthy for 3 days. And I started to notice that the stinging and biting didn't go away, but there was this weird sensation that I had at some point in this where I felt like a bazillion mites were crawling all over my face and in and out of my ears. But nobody else in the house, none of my family members, were experiencing anything like this. So that's when I did, started eating healthy. And about the third day, that symptom chilled out. So I knew if, the parasites wouldn't care what you ate or not. So I knew when it chilled out that it was not parasites or mites that was running in and out of my ears and on my skin. So that was a key thing to do. If you're experiencing the mites running all over your body, definitely stop all sugars, stop all breads for a few days and see if it doesn't go away. I still had the stinging and biting, but just not, the insane feeling of mites constantly crawling on your scalp and face. But I still get the stinging and biting. Let's see here. Some of my other symptoms. Oh, headache above the right eye. That would last 3 days. A lot of brain fog. I was having trouble adding two-digit numbers together in my head. Waking up at 3 a.m. and the Bartonella scratches, those long scratches that appear on your skin. I also would later develop lesions on my leg. a lot of, dots that were in patterns of 3, red dots that were in patterns of 3, which, at one point in time I thought was insects biting me of some kind, but I'm not even sure if there were. So, I went to see the doctor about the local doctor here about the ringworm, and they put me on a course of terbinafine, which is a pharmaceutical drug, an antifungal that's meant for the skin conditions. And at first it seemed like it was starting to help, but then it kind of just got worse. It's like got really worse. After that, he diagnosed me with seborrheic dermatitis, or seborrheic dermatitis, or however you say it. And then I had asked him if there's anything else we could do. He prescribed me some itraconazole, and I did find that helped a lot. I had a film over my left eye that was making it a little difficult to see. A course of itraconazole cleared that up, but it didn't take care of all the problems. I still had foreign object feeling in the eye and a lot of eye issues. So I decided to go see a dermatologist, or actually next was an ophthalmologist. So I figured go get my eyes checked out. And he actually said he didn't see anything whatsoever. And they stained my eyes in order to see fungal infections, and yet he couldn't see anything. He diagnosed me with allergies, wrote me a prescription for 3 different fancy eye drops, and sent me home, told me to follow up with him in a month. And then I figured, well, maybe I could go get some answers from a dermatologist. So I go there, they give me the standard blood and urine test. But she too didn't seem to put much importance on the ringworm. And she wrote me a prescription for some fancy shampoo that was like Head and Shoulders. And I don't even think she prescribed me any skin cream. But she called me back with the results from the blood test, and I had low TSH, which is thyroid hormone, your main thyroid hormone. So, I contacted her back, and I'm thinking, well, what's the next step we should take to figure out what's going on with my skin? And she had said, well, I want to refer you to an endocrinologist about your thyroid. And when I realized she wasn't going to do anything about my skin conditions, it's at that point I said, I'm completely done with these doctors. And I decided to do a bunch of research and self-treat. So I did most of my research on a site called PubMed, which is the National Institute of Health website. If you search pub, like drinking at a pub, and then med, you'll be able to locate that. And what that is a collection of medical journals and studies. I found it to be a great source of information. I quickly became a PubMed junkie, doing tons of research, spending much of my hours researching. I would also look on drugs.com to find out medications, and I decided to start several medications. After I finished the itraconazole, I decided to go on fluconazole because I couldn't handle the itraconazole. I was on it maybe 14 days, and I started getting severe chest pains. And reading the side effects for itraconazole, I thought maybe I was having a bad reaction, and that I was setting myself up for a heart attack. So I did stop taking it, but luckily, my left eye had cleared up somewhat. At least I could see a little bit better. And then I decided, well, there's not too many more antifungals left available, but they do sell fluconazole over the counter here. And I decided to go on fluconazole. And I actually was off and on that, but I stayed on it for quite some time. The first week I took it, it was hell. And I had a lot of pain in my kidneys. It was just hard to stay on. I actually had to stop it after 5 days. And I took a break for about a week, but I'm like, you know what? There's really not many more options. I don't want this thing to become resistant to the drug, so I have to go back on. So I went back on after the 5-day break, and I found it was a little bit easier to do, but I went through a lot of Herxheimer reactions, or what they call herxing, from taking these meds. I also read a publication on the PubMed that said when you take doxycycline with fluconazole, that it makes the fluconazole it goes from fungistatic to fungicidal, meaning that normally fluconazole would work by inhibiting the fungus. It doesn't really kill it, but it just inhibits some of its functions, so it eventually will die out. But the article I read had said when you take the doxycycline with it, it makes it a fungicidal. So I found those two worked really well. My eyes started to clear up. They were always red and itchy and irritated when I woke, but the doxycycline started to clear up my eyes. Now, it wouldn't really last, but it was nice to have something working. But I ended up staying on fluconazole about 18 months total before I found a solution to get off of it, which I'll discuss in a little bit here. What I decided to do, I also joined a great site. It's a Lyme forum online. It's healingwell.com. And I took the handle Chicken Arise. So I'm Chicken Arise on healingwell.com. It's a great community, very, very smart people. If you're they understand Morgellons. So if you're having any symptoms of Lyme or Morgellons, we also discuss mold a lot on there. So feel free to sign up, healingwell.com, and join us there. You'll gain a lot of information. So that was about that time. At first, I was logging into there thinking I had mold sickness, and I knew nothing really too much about Lyme or Morgellons. But then down the road, I started to have other symptoms that really resembled Lyme, like Icepick headaches. They're the most painful. They're short, really short, like maybe 20 seconds worth of pain, but it feels like somebody's jabbing an ice pick into your brain. It's not fun. I experienced a lot of hair loss. Hair was just falling out. And I started developing a real serious lung pain. And it was the people on the Healing Well forum that helped me to figure out that the lung pain I was experiencing was more common to people with Morgellons than it was to people with Lyme. People with Lyme, a lot of times will have a co-infection of Babesia. It's a microbe called Babesia. It's actually a parasite, and it'll cause them to have something known as air hunger, to where they're gasping for air but can't get enough oxygen. I didn't experience that. I just experienced pain on inhale, pain on exhale. Then somebody ended up contacting me. All my information is public on Healing Well. My email is there. I like to stay public. I like to, keep in touch, learn from people, talk to people about this. And she informed me that she experienced the same thing with the lung pain. And she used a drug called clarithromycin, which I also eventually started taking. And that really, it took 3 months worth of this med, and no doctors are going to give you 3 months worth of this med. So I ended up buying a lot of my pharmaceuticals from an India pharmacy, an online pharmacy. I wish I would have found out about them a lot sooner. I would have saved thousands of dollars. But I also decided to go on the Dr. Klinghardt anti-parasite protocol. Dr. Klinghardt is a famous Lyme doctor, and he developed this anti-parasite protocol to where you can take these medications, and just he says that a lot of his patients, if they go and get rid of the parasites, a lot of them will start to improve. So I started the Klinghardt protocol, the parasite protocol. You can find that. I made a shortcut link if you're interested in seeing what goes into that protocol. It's at V like Victor, H like Henry, T like Tango, / the word parasite in all lowercase letters. So v.ht / parasite. And that'll take you to the Klinghardt parasite protocol. So now, no doctor out here was going to give me any of these parasite meds. So before I knew about the pharmacy in India, what I did is I actually went and got some horse medication, and I was taking it, and I was going through the parasite protocol, and I was documenting all of it on my YouTube channel, which bore the name of Clint from NY to VA. Well, I guess YouTube didn't like that I was sharing this and how I was treating the Morgellons with horse meds. At the time, I still didn't know it was Morgellons. I thought it might be Lyme, but so I end up doing all these horse meds. Then I found the pharmacy in India, and I was able to get some of the human versions of these meds. But I found that, later I realized it was Morgellons. My brother had come to visit me in Panama, and he spent about a month at this house. After he returned home, he developed a full-blown case of Morgellons. Meanwhile, I still thought, while he developed the Morgellons, that I had Lyme. But I knew about Morgellons, and I totally believed that that's what he was going through. And he was having all kinds of things come out of his skin, and he just had it bad as anyone I've ever known. So in the back of my head, I was always fearful of Morgellons, and eventually I would find out that it was Morgellons. One of the easiest ways that I would find out is that I got a ultraviolet flashlight, and I shined it on my skin, and I could see the glowing fibers coming out of my skin. They were few and far between and rather small, but you're not supposed to have glowing fibers coming out of your skin. So I knew that this was Morgellons. And, it kind of really struck me hard, but at least I had it happening to my brother as a little bit of a buffer to my emotions. But I finally accepted it, decided that, I was going to do everything I could to treat it. I had some success with the parasite med protocol, and then I also did a course of antibiotics, some which I found to be helpful and some not. So basically, that's the gist of my story. I'm sure I left something out, but I'm sure as we discuss things that more stuff will hit my brain for recall. So, you guys there?
Yep.
All right, good.
Yep. Very familiar story.
Yes, thank you for that, Clint and Santos. That was well in depth, Clint, which is really good, and you were explaining what you were talking about. With you, Santos, will we revisit what you were saying about parasites? Parasites are absolutely 100% involved, but the problem is they are not just run-of-the-mill parasites. They have actually been weaponized. Now, there is a site called Shizet Gesture, Shizit Gesture, Gesture. That girl needs to be commended. She has truly done her homework. She has named and shamed the inventors of these horrors they have bestowed on us. She has patent numbers. She has the universities and labs where they are created. I would suggest everyone look at every single one of that well in-depth research videos. She has many. Just because they're 6 years old, they are not outdated. And get educated on what they have done. They have
Yeah, she was a
used.
pioneer.
She's absolutely 100% a truther, and she doesn't just put things out there without the proof. She is giving you patent numbers. She is giving you names. She is naming universities. She leaves nothing unresearched. She is still around, actually appearing in conferences around the place, educating people. She's been at this a very long time. I would also suggest another site called Stop the Crime. Now, these are sites that will give you knowledge and insight into what is happening. Do not think chemtrails, what they're doing to your water, what they're doing to your food.
Oh, I think you cut out, Michelle. I lost you.
Is,
There you go.
Which bit did you leave me on?
What they're doing with the food and water?
Yeah, everything is intertied. When you go to the nuts and bolts of this, everything is interconnected. It is the same as what they do with the diseases. They will say, oh, it's Lyme, it's this, it's that. It is all to hide what they are doing. The root of the problem is the chemicals they are putting in us, the weaponized insects they have bestowed on us, the poisoning of the food and water. These things use the chemicals to build.
Oh, lost you again.
Yeah, so I seem to be under quite a bit of computer attack. Now, parasites, you can't just infect as easily as turning the door handle after someone who's got parasites has put their hands on that door handle. Earthing, like frequencies, are 100% involved in this. Once they use all the chemicals in the air and they send frequencies through the air, they can change the mood of a city with these frequencies.
And they genetically modified everything too.
They have 100% genetically modified everything. Like earthing is really good. The earth runs at 783 hertz. You stand on the earth. This is why you're connecting with Mother Earth and the frequencies go through you. When you stand barefoot on the earth, it is actually good for you. But it's also, if someone has left parasites in the soil there, you're reinfected. This is how easily you can be reinfected with parasites. If an animal has parasites and licks you, bang, those parasite spores are going straight into your skin. So do not take parasites as a one-off treatment. It is round the clock. And they are surprisingly easy to kill when you have the knowledge. Things like when you eat a pumpkin, you scoff every one of those seeds. If you can't eat them all, give them a wash and dry them, and then eat handfuls. That will parasite cleanse. My last live stream was on activated charcoal. You run a treatment of that. That will kill parasites. The live
That's good
stream
stuff.
before, yeah, the live stream before I done hydrogen peroxide. They're not going to do too well on that.
Yeah, I think you cut out. There you
Oh,
go. Nope, cut out again.
I think
Oh,
I'm off again. Am I?
there you are. You're back. You're back.
Yeah, I'm being assaulted here. You just step in when I cut out Vendel Santos.
Okay.
I will say that the hydrogen peroxide treatment, which I did do an in-depth live stream on, is a very good treatment, and I'm still taking 4 drops of hydrogen peroxide food grade before bed every night to oxygenate my blood. And Clint is also on this treatment, but he does it another way. So there will be a live stream coming up where Clint will be telling you how he uses hydrogen peroxide, but he is treating by a different method. But we're both
Yeah, I'm
getting
actually
the
using
same.
ozone.
Yeah,
Ozone, it's another oxygenation therapy.
yeah, but yours is in depth, and we will do another live stream where Clint will in depthly explain to you how he is doing it. I just got the hydrogen peroxide food grade. I've told most of this out. Bacteria's mold. Do listen to that video, and as I said, if you want to go another way with this treatment, we will be doing a video about this. Do you
Yeah,
want to
we'll
step in
cover a
and
lot of
say?
binders.
Do you want to step in and say anything more about the parasites or anything, Santos?
I'm not too sure because I'm not sure which part of my symptoms is the worst, or what what is the hardest bit to go after, because it's pretty complex, really. I mean, there's obviously the GI tract is struggling. It could be because of parasites, mostly. It could be the nanoparticles. I'm just not sure, you know. So I'm very confused because I've been doing lots of things for the last 10 years. It's been really bad in the last 10 years. I lost 10 kilos, which is about 20 more pounds. About 9 or 10 years ago, I just lost them, and I've never been able to put them back on. I just kind of shriveled up overnight, and it was associated with lack of sleep. I just thought it was that, you know, stress. And so I'm really now just coming to terms with the fact that it's Morgellons related. I heard about it in other people, but I didn't have the same symptoms. For instance, I've never had any pain. I've never had pain, you know, like chronic pain. And rarely do I have acute pain. I've had one headache, few teeth ache, and just injury pain. But apart from that, never have pain. I just have discomfort and can't sleep and itching. And that's it. Irritability. I'll be irritable all day long. I have to cancel shows, appointments. I've had more than 50% of my days just written right off for the last 10 years. So I'm not reliable, you know. I'll book a show a month in advance, and if I don't sleep the night before, I ain't going to do that show. I was almost bad enough not to do this one this morning because I was itching since 4 o'clock in the morning, and it's not fun. It really is not fun.
Isn't that itching the most crazy, insatiable itch that you've ever felt in your life?
It's absolutely demonic. I don't know any other word. It is demonic. It's an intelligent itch. The moment I'm just about to snooze off, it comes back, and it comes back. It just tickles at first, and once it gets your attention, that little tickle, then it just jabs. It's violent little taser-like, miniature taser-like jab, and it goes right to the bone, and you cannot ignore it. A lot of people say, look, if you have the power to ignore it, you'll sleep through it, no problem. They don't know what they're talking about. You can't ignore this itch. I'm doing it right now. I'm itching, I'm scratching my nose, and I get all these ignoramuses who make comments like, Santos is on the cocaine again. I've never had cocaine. I would never do that stupid shit. I've had plenty of entheogens, yeah, but none of that rubbish. So as for the the peanut-brained idiots who make these comments. Got no idea. But I've seen it also in my family. My sister, she always scratches her nose. You know, she's straight as can be. But
I think a lot of people have this and they don't realize it yet.
Yeah.
They all will fall. They all will fall. And not everyone has the same symptoms.
Right.
A lot of
Very
people
rare.
think you don't have Morgellons if they don't see the lesions. I've never had the lesions, ever.
Well, my brother's never had the itching, which is really unusual because I've had that crazy insatiable itching. I did find something
I didn't
that
have
helps
the
him.
itching. I didn't have the itching until the major detoxing, where basically my whole back split open. But what I would get is if I came into, I reached toxic overload. I could no longer use deodorants, which we now know are full of aluminium. So my body, every time I came near a chemical or tried to use a chemical or ate GM foods, it would just literally bring me to my knees. I absolutely understand what Santos is saying about losing days.
So you
You
developed the
do.
chemical sensitivity really bad.
Years before you know what's going on. When you know what's going on and detox, be kind to yourself. If you're in pain and need to sit for a day and mollycoddle yourself, do it. You will go through more hell detoxing than what you did leading up to this because it is absolutely intelligent and it will absolutely fight back and try and bring you down to the point you go, oh, well, if I do that, I'll get all this aggravation. And that's the intelligence of it. And it is not only parasitic intelligence, you're dealing with nanotechnology. You are being assaulted by every weapon they have formed against us. And it is weaponized parasites and it is nanotechnology, and the chemicals are there to feed this.
Yeah, someone once told to me it's getting better is a marathon, not a race.
It is like you are not going to get over this in a week, and you cannot think, oh, I feel better now, and go back to your old lifestyle. That will
Right.
absolutely not work because Sting sings it in his song. Every breath you take, every move you make, they will not only be watching you, they will be attacking you because they've saturated the atmosphere with this. So it is not I'll fix it and go back to the way things were. If you think that, you are just not getting it.
No, it took me many, many months before I could even have a small piece of bread again, but there is hope. You can get better. You have to eat healthy and do all the things that we'll be talking about, and you can get better. I'm about 90% better than I once was, so there's hope.
I am too, absolutely. And we will get you there, but I will tell you, we'll plunge you into hell to get there. And what you're going through now is only the tip of the iceberg. Like I said to you, get those Epsom salts and the clays and be prepared to spend a long time in the bath. It absolutely, some people don't get the sinuses, but the itchy nose, they absolutely get in and breed along those sinus tracts. There are worms, weaponized worms in that mucus. Now, when I first started detoxing, I'm pretty hardcore. Like, I will attack this and cut my nose off despite my face. And I would, like, you want to be on cocaine? Well, this is your cocaine. You get a handful of bicarb soda and you snort it like cocaine. Now, your eyes will bulge out 3 foot in front of your head like Popeye, but I tell you what, it'll shut those worms up for a day. You can also
Did you really
snort.
do that? Did you
Yeah,
really do that? You snorted
yeah.
bicarb soda, baking
I
soda?
snorted bicarb, and not only that, when I wasn't snorting bicarb, I'd snort finely ground Himalayan salt.
Wow.
and it gets right into your sinus tracts. I mean, it's the quickest fix I can give you, but I mean, I wouldn't make a child do it. And
Right.
I'm going to tell you, your eyes will literally bug out. But you're right for the day after it. I mean, you know, I don't muck around with this. Like, I find people are horrified with the head shaving, but I'm not playing games with this. I want this out. And I find, and it's awful for a girl to shave her hair. Like, people look at me, oh, look, the poor cancer victim. Well, I haven't got cancer. I shave my head because this is the last hold up I've got. And it gets under your scalp over it. And what it does is break that fake plastic skin. It
Oh
gives
yeah,
me
that's the slime
direct,
mold.
yeah, and it gives me direct access to my scalp where I can get this treatment in. And I mix the vinegar with the bentonite clay. And look, people get hung up on the clay. You can get great detoxing red clays, green clays, doesn't matter. But I mix a vinegar with some copper infused in it with my clay. I don't mix my clay with water. I mix it like that and I put it on my scalp and I sleep in it every night and it hates it. I mean, I am going to find a solution for our hair, people, come hell or high water. Like, I'm on a mission. And I will share my knowledge with you. And I don't put anything out I do unless I have done it and run it for a while. So I know what I'm telling you is true, but it won't hurt you and it will help you. Um, but like, with these parasites, you're not dealing with ordinary parasites. You are
Not at
dealing
all.
with weaponized parasites. And
Yeah.
I tell you what, when you first shave your hair, up in your scalp. This is what happened the first time I shaved my hair. Now, this is going back because I've been shaving my hair for like nearly a year now. And I've still got lumps that come on my hair, but I don't get the huge black specks. Anyone into this? I don't think you know about the black. Started detoxing for these yet? Is that correct?
I'm sorry, you cut out there for a second. The black specks.
Yeah, Santos, notice the black specks yet? Everyone has the black specks when they start detoxing. And this is the hard, like nano, with the fiber coming out. You'll see plenty of pictures on the internet. Have you noticed that yet, Santos? Or
No, not me.
we'll get you there. Don't you worry. They're in you. We've got to bring them out. But you have been big on the enemas, which is a great thing to do. Like, recommend enemas. And this is a plus for you because you're getting it all out of your lower colon, which is probably helping you.
And the faster
And
you hit it, the better you will be, the quicker that you will heal. So you want to start hitting it right away. Another thing that I found was very helpful was infrared sauna. And when I would sit in the sauna, I'd have some crazy things come out of my skin. I'd start like massaging my leg, and I felt it ended up an ant-like, half spider, half ant with a 2-segment body, ended up coming right through my skin. It felt as if it was coming from the depths of deep in my leg from the tissue. And I really couldn't believe what was going on, but these bugs were coming out of me in the infrared sauna. So you'll want to do that, drink lots of water, go into the infrared sauna, and do that at least once a week.
And also, I've done a video because we can't all afford saunas, and you can buy infrared mats, but they're like over $1,000. So I do have a video out on how you just go on eBay and buy the red reptile lights, and then you go into a cheap shop and get a lamp. I went into Kmart and bought a lamp for $10 where you can move the head of the lamp round, and I will sit there overnight and have the infrared lamp on my leg or wherever I'm feeling the most pain, or just shine it over myself in general. This will also give you a bit of vitamin D. It's a good way to get vitamin D. It's a cheap way of doing it. So you don't have to spend a lot. And any online sites I promote, I do not run any businesses. I do not have any monetary things in this. I'm just telling you how to get things cheaply. You can buy in-home saunas down to about $90 for an in-home sauna that you can plug in and sit at home in. And that it helps, especially people that don't have a bath to soak in.
Yeah, you could
That's,
get a day
you
pass
know,
and go to the gym or the spa and use the sauna too for cheap, right?
yeah, but like that only does you for a buy an in-home sauna off eBay, you know, and use it every day, especially people that can't soak and only have showers. You know, work out what you're spending your money on, because I will tell you, this costs you a fortune. Like, I
Oh
want
my
a
God.
refund. I
Oh
want
my
a
God.
refund.
Yeah.
And this is why on my site I show you a lot of things and how to get around things cheaply, because I know, you know, I didn't have much money to begin with, but I can't save a cent because you're always needing this, that, and the other.
Yeah, but what we can do is help you, weed out the stuff that doesn't work versus the
Says,
stuff that
yeah,
does. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But going back to what Santos says about losing weight, it goes two ways here, Santos. People either explode with fatness or lose weight. There doesn't seem to be a middle ground with it. And
I had both tested.
this got, yeah, well, this
Yeah.
goes back to what I'm saying. Everyone reacts differently, and people that go, "Oh, you need to have this and that and the other to be diagnosed with Morgellons." No, everyone reacts differently. They've done different experiments on different areas around the world. Um, like some people have very colourful things.
Oh, did we lose
Drink
Michelle?
either.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah, they're attacking my computer today.
Yeah, you're
I used
having
I
that.
used to have really colourful things coming out in the bath. Now, on my research, that tells me coloured things coming out because they've had moth DNA used on them. I
With all
mean,
kinds of
there's
cases.
yeah, they've been experimenting on different areas around the world and putting in different insect and animal DNA. Using this as some sort of horror lab experiment. That's what they've been
Yeah.
doing. And I can tell you exactly part of this is vibration. This is absolutely 100% demonic. And this is why they need you at a low vibration, because
Right, right.
they
Very
feed off
much
a
so.
low vibration. And this
Yep,
is why try not to get down on this. Try and lift your
absolutely.
vibration. And I know you're very big on that sort of thing too, Santos. He may have run off for a bath soak.
Yeah.
Very good on that. Got to keep the
Yeah,
spirits up.
yeah, it's very important not to get stressed and not to panic. The more you get stressed out, the more this will take control of you. You really have to. I know it's difficult, but you have to learn to keep your cool and believe that you'll get through this, and you'll be a lot better off.
And this goes back to scriptures telling you, don't be scared of them, because they do. Fear is a low vibration. Fear is absolutely a low vibration. So do not be scared of them, and believe us when we tell you. Because Clint and I have been at this a while. we can get you off your knees. We can get you feeling better. We can get you sleeping through the night without getting up all night. It wasn't itching that would keep me awake all night, but I would just be dozing off to sleep, and I would be like a constant weir. I would be up 2 or 3 times a night urinating, like not big urinations. It was like an annoying thing. Because, and I can tell you that taking the horsetail 100% helped my urinary. Once I started on the horsetail, now you can get that in. It absolutely, I actually felt from the minute I started on horsetail, it going through my urinary tract, and I don't need to get up at all during the night anymore.
How much horsetail do you take, Michelle? Because I need to do that because I have to pee every 30 minutes.
I just started drinking the tea all the time. And then on that.
Okay, I got the drops because you mentioned that the drops were
Yeah,
good. So I just
yeah,
got them.
yeah,
I haven't
yeah.
taken them yet. So how
Yeah,
many drops did I take?
I think it's about the extract, the horsetail extract. You
Yes,
got to
yes.
pipe in. I tell everyone about piping rock because this site you can find all this stuff, and I've never seen prices cheaper. If you do, you know, it does keep you broke. I took what was on the extract. So Clint got the horsetail
Yeah, the horsetail extract.
bottle. I think it's about 60 mils a day.
Mm-hmm.
I just whack it in my juice and take it. And I run things in cycles. Like, and that includes the parasite cleanse. So I'll do the fruit seeds. All fruit seeds will parasite cleanse. Like when you're juicing apples, pick out the apple seeds and scoff them all. When you're juicing oranges, lemons, grapefruits, pick out the seeds and scoff them all. And these are wormers. These will worm you. Black walnut hull is a fantastic wormer, and it's very cheap off eBay. So, you know, if you have opened a pumpkin and taken a big handful of pumpkin seeds, you know, you cycle things. You don't need to go and take the black walnut hull on top of that. Run things in cycles. And I find that being intelligent tends to, if you attack one part of your body, it will pick up and move to another part of your body. It will, this Morgellons, we'll call it Morgellons, will defend itself. And there's videos out there that shows you it going from a hard form into a liquid state. I mean, it can morph. I mean, no wonder people think we're delusional, but, you know we're not. we absolutely know we're not. Clint, Santos, you want to say anything?
Yeah, I don't really know what to contribute, but because my my experience with this has been long, but as to actually dealing with it, I've been doing more conventional things. So, you know, enemas, that's been very good for me. The bowel restore has been very good because I've flushed tons of mucoid plaque, and that's been very, very helpful. I've felt better for sure, but again, I had to have a break from that because 2 months on the bowel restore really made my GI tract very very raw, and so now I'm just rebuilding again for a month, and then I'm going to go back on it again after I do some serious fasting. So next week is fasting for me. Thursday night will be the night before the new moon, before Friday the 13th, that is, this week. So Friday, the new moon, for me will be a fast. I fast on every new moon, which in the Jewish system is called Kodesh. And that's the most important Sabbath. So that's this Friday. But on the Thursday night, I'm going to do a liver flush, the Andreas Moritz style. I did one last month at the new moon and flushed a parasite. It was about 4 inches long.
Do you want to
looked like-
explain about a bit more about what that protocol is, Santos?
Yep,
How the flush works?
Yep, for sure. So I'm drinking apple juice at the moment to build up the malic acid in the body. I do that for a week prior to the flush. And I'll have a lot of apple cider vinegar as well with bicarb soda. So you need to just build up the malic acid, drink a litre of apple juice. If you can't handle the sugar in that, well then apple cider vinegar, 100 milliliters, mils every day. And that'll soften everything, all the tubes in the organs. And then on the last day at 6 o'clock, I prepare. I fast from 2 o'clock that day. That'll be on Thursday, this Thursday. So, and I prepare some Epsom salts in water. So 4 spoons in 4 glasses of water. Or I think it's 3 spoons in 3 glasses of water. Sorry about that. And then you put that in the fridge to chill. Then at 6 o'clock, you drink 3/4 of a glass of that. And then at 8 o'clock, another 3/4 of a glass. Then at 10 o'clock, before I go to bed, I drink 300 mils of olive oil and lemon juice or grapefruit juice, either one. So you mix, say, a half a glass of olive oil with about 2/3 of a glass or a cup of lemon juice. So slightly more lemon juice than olive oil. And so that's about 300 mil. Is it 300 mil? I'm not sure now. I don't want to be giving bad information. But you can go to search Andreas Moritz liver flush. And so the last thing you drink is the olive oil and lemon juice mixture. You shake it rigorously and just drink it all down. It's delicious. I love it. And you quickly go to bed and lie down flat on your back for 20 minutes before you move any other way. Then in the morning,
Is also a stones, gets rid of the kidney stone, Santos.
yes, gallbladder stones, liver stones, parasites. The first one I did 4 years ago, I got rid of a tapeworm. It was long. That's just with the flush. And I do it before the new moon because that's the best expelling part of the lunar cycle. That's when everything is very, very ready to come out. I mean, it's the expelling part of the cycle. So always a day before the new moon. And in the morning, you then at 6 o'clock, you drink a 1/3 glass of Epsom salt, 3/4 or 2/3 a glass or cup, whatever you want to call it, of Epsom salts. Then at 8 o'clock, the last glass. So what you mixed the day before, which was 3 full cups of water with 3 full tablespoons of Epsom salts, turn into 4 3/4 cups. Okay, I hope you followed that. I'm not sure whether I explained that well, but you have to have the Epsom salts along with this because it also helps prepare the organs for the flush. So I'll be doing a flush on Thursday night. Friday, of course, is the new moon. And that's my Sabbath. So the new moon is on a Friday this month. Last month it was Thursday. The month before it was Wednesday. So now I have a new fasting day. Every 7 days I fast. That's the true Sabbath. So it's Friday. So start with anyone listening who's interested in following the true sabbatical system. You always start with the new moon. You don't want to be eating, dining, doing much on a new moon, ever. It's a time for rest. It's equivalent to the feminine menstruation cycle. And and that's a time for not to be ingesting food. Whatever you ingest will just not have any value. It won't be absorbed. The moon is menstruating. That's the new moon. And then every 7th day, you do the same thing. You fast. Now, for me, though, I'm going to be fasting Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll do a 3-day fast this week. And if that's not enough, I'm going to do more, depending on how I'm feeling, because every time I do a 3-day fast, I get really weak. And I feel like I have to build up to it, you know, like bulk up and eat a lot and then get ready for it, because it's pretty debilitating if you're full of parasites. So
Yeah, it absolutely is hard to fast, Santos, without the parasites. And I'll just chime in there and say to everyone, I too keep the Sabbath. It is the 4th commandment. And to these false preachers that tell you that Paul cancelled in your commandments. So I'll let you keep going, Santos.
you broke up there. What did you say?
I said to anyone that and to these false preachers that tell people that Paul cancelled the Sabbath, they're absolutely giving you false teachings. It is a commandment, and no one can cancel a commandment. It really annoys me that they do this. This is a this false teaching when it's a commandment is just evil.
Yeah, the 7th day resting cycle is in nature. It's part of the way nature rehabilitates itself and recuperates and regroups, and the body's no different. The body loves a fast, and the 7th day fast is very healing and cleansing. I get rejuvenated from it. It really, the 1 day as I can do really well. I do 36 hour because I don't eat anything after 6 the night prior. Then for the whole day I have nothing, and then start in the morning the next day. So it's a 36 hour fast, and it's important to do it with the moon. The moon is the closest magnetic body near the earth, and so the ancients did teach us that the sun, the moon, all of these so-called planets, we call them planets, that's fine. They are luminaries. They're luminous beings, archangels, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, Michael. And the moon has the most direct influence on all bodies. And this goes into astrology as well. Many people still don't understand astrology. They've been taught it's a pseudoscience on the one hand. On the other hand, they've been taught that it's from the devil. And neither of these are true. It's a language. You can't debunk astrology. It's been around since the beginning of time and will be around forever. No amount of arguing against it and trying to debunk it will prove anything. You can't debunk a language. You can't debunk music. You know, music is a language. It's the universal language. Mathematics, gematria, astrology, they're languages. And it's ludicrous to say that the moon doesn't influence you, or the sun and these planets that are astrological. It's ludicrous, because of course they do. Anything influences you. You know, if you're in the room with two people and one leaves, the energy changes. If an angry person comes into the room where you're sitting, you'll feel it. If a loving person comes into the room, you'll feel it. If you remove a chair or a painting from the room, you will feel it. It will change the energy in the room. Everything affects everything. So for the people who say, oh, yes, but it's hocus pocus, you can't prove it. Yes, you can. You can prove. You can feel if you're in tune. You know, the moon's influence. I mean,
another thing, Santos, is that a lot of people with this condition will say when the moon is full or about to get full, they'll experience a higher activity of the parasites.
Exactly, because at the full moon, all the parasites climb upward in the organs they're in and in the whole body. And then at the new moon, they're heading downwards. That's why, contrary to a lot of the guys out there suggesting to do a flush at the new moon, I've never done one at the full moon. I've never done one then. It's probably a good idea, you know, because they're up and about and they're very, very active at the full moon.
Oh, it becomes active. I'll absolutely stand by that. Oh, I've seen it. I know it. So people, there you've got three of us telling you the same thing there.
Yeah, look, I haven't yet tried a flush at the full moon, but I probably will. I like the new moon, and I've seen the results. It's incredible. The amount of stones you flush, the amount of rubbish that comes out, it's just incredible. So I'm going to do a fast, and hopefully that will help. It has helped in the past. Some people get results, great results from one-day fasts. You know, they eliminate parasites at the end of the day. I also do pure gum terps treatment. So that's another thing that other people have tried. They've just done the pure gum terp protocol, and they've gotten rid of parasites and all kinds of rubbish. So I'm hitting it from many angles. I do colonics at a local place here. So that's good too. I've seen ammonia come out of me, sulfur, heavy metals, fluorescent colored toxins. I've seen parasites, flukes, mucoid plaque. We really are infested with this stuff. I've always been slim. My sister, on the other hand, she's overweight, excessively overweight, and she's got exactly the same symptoms, the itching, the irritability, sleepless nights. She pretty much can't do anything anymore. I'm lucky that I went the other way. I went the skinny way. I've always been skinny. So never more than 140 pounds or 65 kilos ever. But right now I'm 10 kilos underweight. I'm about 55 kilos and been trying to put it on for 10 years. So it's not through a lack of eating. I eat plenty. I'm a really good eater. I cook delicious food. I love raw food. I love cooked food. I do vegetables, fruits. Of course, I'm vegetarian. I don't eat animals because, of course, I love animals, and I allow them to have their natural development, because that's why they're alive. They have their natural cycle to fulfill. They love life. Animals don't want to die. They scream when they're being hurt, and we're not here to exploit the animals and mistreat them. We're here to love them and nourish them as well. So, but I do have honey and things like that. I'm not opposed to people drinking good organic milk and stuff like that. These are not at all bad for you. You know, some people need that. They need the products that come from animals, but as long as those animals are not hurt, abused, exploited, and loved. But apart from that, I'm pretty much vegan. Really, I probably just have honey these days. But
you can also have stevia, which is a natural plant product, or argi, which is made from a flower. They're both natural sweeteners as well, Santos.
Be
And I'll
careful
just
with the
mention,
stevia. If you have prostate issue, be careful with the
yeah.
stevia.
Though, look, if you took massive doses of stevia, it can harm you, but no one would be able to tolerate the amount of stevia you would have to do a great amount of harm. But, you know, when you do have these issues, be aware and take into account warnings people give you. It's the same with lily of the valley. It can be taken internally, externally used in your oils. Morgellons hate it, but I have to do a video on this because of the warnings I've got to give people with lily of the valley. It is not for everyone.
I love the smell
So,
of lily of the valley. That's a wonderful smelling flower.
yeah. Oh, look, it absolutely is great in your body oils. But do wait till I do a video on this, people, because there are warnings I have to give you on this. And to get back to what Santos says about the gum turpentine, you take pure gum turpentine only. It is made from the resin of a pine tree. And I have 2 videos out where I show you how to take it with carriers. And the amount to take, so you do yourself no harm. So I'll give the mic back to you guys.
Santos, something that might help you with the itching. This protocol helped me. Every time I tried to come off of the fluconazole medication, I would start to feel the tingling and the itching start to come back. And what finally allowed me to stop taking fluconazole and get off the meds was something called the Carnicom protocol. There's a duplicate of the protocol available on morgellonshield.com. It's Morgellons and then shield, like a shield, .com. And that protocol, once I started doing it, I didn't feel the itching anymore. I continue to do it to this day. I found that you don't need it has an extra ingredient in there that you don't need, the branched chain amino acids, but the other ingredients are key. And that helped me stop itching.
what was the other ingredient?
The other ingredients are lactoferrin is one, and you want to take glutathione. Both of those help with removing the toxins. Lactoferrin, glutathione, and L-carnosine, which is an amino acid. And there was one other on, vitamin C. And those ingredients, you want to take all those ingredients. And you can find it on the formula on step 1 of the morgellonshield.com page.
You're already heavily into the vitamin C. I think you've told me, aren't you, Santos? You're like anyone that doesn't know, vitamin C is absolutely There are two ways to get the vitamin C. One is plant-based and the other is from shellfish. So if you do follow a biblical diet, just be aware of that. It is the same with the MSM. You can buy it plant-based or it can be made from shellfish.
I like the Dr. Mercola's liposomal vitamin C. I
Yeah,
get it at
yeah,
Vitacost. Yeah, Vitacost
yeah.
is a pretty good price
But a
for a
lot
lot
of
of the
people,
vitamins.
but a lot of biblical diets and are vegans and vegetarians. So, I just want them to be aware that when you're buying vitamin C or MSM, it might not be from the plants. So just always inquire where it's sourced from. Is it from
Yeah.
shellfish? Because I don't eat shellfish. I follow the biblical diet. So, we point these things out to you guys so you have the knowledge and you're aware of these things.
Most
hand the
ascorbic
mic back.
acid is made from GMO corn anyway, so you should always look into the source of your supplements.
Yeah, see, there you go, guys. Look, it is nothing for me to find something on a online site, and before I'll buy or I want to know what I'm buying, I contact the manufacturer. I ring
Very
them
good.
up, and I get a download on exactly what's in there. And this is where when I'm on my sites telling you things I'm doing, I have done that. So I'm not steering you wrong. But when I'm taking something, I know exactly what's going on with it. So, be the same. You need to learn
Yeah.
to be a researcher and a detective because
Absolutely.
they will trip you up. And don't think for a minute they're not doing it deliberately.
Yeah.
Because they are.
Yeah. Yeah, there's
I'll
a
hand
lot of shills on YouTube that are trying to trip people up with Morgellons,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
and don't be fooled. Usually a good way to tell is they've got huge channels and they've hardly been running for any amount of time. They also,
They go out of their way to attack people.
they also like to talk about aliens. This isn't alien, it's demonic. Unless you want to call an alien a demon, it's
Yeah,
demonic.
one person's alien is another person's demon, I guess.
Yeah, but they're trying to tell you they're little green men flying down from Mars. I assure you that they are not. Um, we're in an enclosed system, so there's no little green men tripping down from Mars, people. I'll give the mic back to Santos or Clint, whichever one of you guys want to keep going.
Yeah, sure. I wanted to say that you want to try and pursue as much of an antifungal diet as you possibly can. It'll work. There's a very large fungus component of this disease, of Lyme disease, and I've noticed. I had a video up on my site at the Clint from NY to Virginia 2 site, and it addresses the what it seems like the medical community today is doing everything it possibly can to avoid using the word fungal. And I don't exactly know why, but I think it's because these conditions, Lyme, Morgellons, they all have a fungal component. There was an incident that happened in Dearborn where the CDC actually committed fraud. And if the fungal component were to come into the forefront and become common knowledge, the CDC would actually be proven of this fraud. The people at lymecrime.org, that's lymecrime, LYMECRYME, they did a wonderful video. It's about an hour-long documentary. You can find it on YouTube. And it really gets into the fungal component of this disease. And I've heard the medical industry, say that we have something going around now and they actually use the words, it's a non-virus, virus-like disease going around. And it's amazing how they are trying to avoid using the word fungal. They'll say virus, they'll say bacteria, but if you start doing a lot of antibiotics and you have anything fungal going on in your body, it'll just get a lot worse. So you really want to focus on an antifungal type diet. You guys there? Did we lose you?
No. What sort of foods there? Would that be like your ginger, turmerics?
Yeah, that's some wonderful things you could do. I actually make a tea. I use garlic, turmeric, and ginger. I'm also using, I found out because I'm still experiencing some mycotoxin exposure here at the house. And so what I'm doing for that is licorice root. I'll have a licorice tea and I'll put the ginger and the garlic, lemongrass, and a couple drops of essential oil. I'm using thyme oil, which is very antifungal, and also clove. But when you use essential oils, you just want to put a drop in your tea, a drop or two tops. You don't want to go, because these are very strong, they're very potent.
You also do not put your essential oils in boiling hot water. You wait till your tea cools. And the ginger and ginkgo are two things that will thin the blood. Morgellons causes blood clots. So copious amounts of ginger or ginkgo. I mean, you can use both, but they will help fight clots, which are systematic with what they're doing.
And if you avoid the sugar and the carbs, I think you'll feel a noticeable difference. It's really hard to do, but if you can do it, you'll see that it's helping your body to fight these things better.
Do you have fruit?
If you're going to go, like, say you're going to transition to a paleo or a ketogenic diet, generally initially in that you don't have fruit. You can add it back in later in small amounts. There's two schools of thoughts on the fruits. One say it has too much sugar, and the other one says fruit sugars really don't matter too much. Now, if you know you're fighting yeast and fungal stuff, you want to probably chill out on eating too much of that at first. But I'm of the school that the fruit sugars are a lot more high quality than your other sugars. What you want to avoid is the refined sugars.
I don't put fruit sugars in the category of cane sugar. Cane sugar is all GMO, so you avoid all cane sugar. I don't find anything wrong with honey, stevia, argi, and fruits, as in the skin, you peel all your fruit and vegetables. I did hit it hard in the first bit of my major detox to kill off the parasites when I realized what was happening, and I basically lived for a month on a high vegetable diet with very little fruit. I still did have the apple and carrot because those two together, whether juiced or together, are a heavy chemical and toxin. It will tell you it will cure cancer. It pulls out that many toxins. So
juicing is wonderful.
The fruits GM. And when you're talking GM, do you know they're putting fish DNA in strawberries? Bananas.
Oh, I read they were putting human DNA in wheat. I'm like, what? It's Soylent Green. It's people.
They're
What's going on here?
DNA in rice. I've showed you the rice on the video.
It's crazy what they're doing.
Yeah. You'll find this interesting, Santos, being right into scriptures like me. Do you know in the end days how scriptures tell that people will be eating the abominable thing, the mouse and the swine? Do you know they're putting mouse DNA in the pigs now?
Wow.
and Yep. So this covers scriptures where in the end days people will be eating the abominable things. Absolutely do not eat swine. It's biblical not to eat swine. But I just found it amazing that the scripture said people will be eating mice. And ages ago I thought, oh no, they're deliberately putting rats and mice in McDonald's burgers, which is just a cesspool of horror. But no, I've tracked putting mice genes and DNA in swine, in pigs. So, I mean, that's the end of days when they're getting people. So you think you're sitting down to a nice piece of bacon? You're eating mouse DNA, people. Stop eating what they're doing to the pig. And it's changing your DNA. When you eat anything like Monsanto, I call them, they've changed the DNA. That, by you consuming it, is changing your DNA 100%.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, you guys go on.
Yeah. You
Go
go.
ahead. No, you go.
Yeah, on the pork there, in my studies and research, I've bumped into many accounts of how swine has been tampered with from the word go. You know, like they say that pork is the closest to human flesh. Well, not once, not twice, but many times have I run into this in my research. I can't verify it. I don't know. I don't have any primary sources for this, but for thousands of years, the elite have been mixing human DNA with swine to create this pink pig that is totally a hybrid. It's they did that to to basically turn people into cannibals. Now, I mean, when you see this time after time in your research, it's worthy of mentioning. But as for the veracity of that, I don't know. I wouldn't put it past the elites. If they can do what we know they are doing now with GMOs, putting animal DNA into fruit and vice versa, well then it's not it's not something crazy to think that they've been doing it since the get-go. Their aim is to keep the goy, the Gentiles, the herd dumbed down, sick, and in debt. Those are the three things that they have to do in order to control people. They've got to be dumbed down, they've got to be sick, and they've got to be in debt. Well, that's pretty much 99.9% of humanity today. Everyone has debt, and whether they don't have personal debt, there isn't what's called national debt, and every nation has prostituted itself to the central banks. So debt is one of the tools. Sickness, fluoridated waters, contaminated vaccinations, mercury in dentistry, chemtrails, etc. I mean, in the chemtrails, they've found blood plasma, aborted tissue matter, fibers of all kinds, nanofibers, aluminium, barium, all kinds of very, very toxic heavy metals, and stuff you just wouldn't, imagine. You're like feces. There's feces in it as well. So you're breathing in it. You're breathing it in. They've even put vaccines in there. In 2016, I forget who told me this, but in 2016, the Queensland government vaccinated all of the whole state. I think it was a cholera vaccine or something like that.
Yeah, that was me, Santos. Abbott was in government. He upped the laws to make it even more legal for the Australian government to experiment on the citizens, and they selected Queensland as the lucky recipients, and they sprayed us all with a experimental cholera vaccine.
Lovely.
As for the feces they're spraying on us, they use cat feces, which is a toxoplasma, and this is why a lot of people with this condition develop an allergy to cats. It is the toxoplasma from the cat feces they're spraying on us.
Wonderful.
Yeah, the gift that just keeps giving, isn't it? Hey, also, I have a video out where I have shown you there is an Australian company called WeatherTech, which is now supplying the military with cement to help them save money on what they spray on us. Cement is highly conductive. They are actively putting this in the chemtrails now. We are based on water. Can you
They're-
imagine when we breathe in this cement, what it is doing to us?
Yeah.
And
They're
that's to
trying to
save
turn us into
money.
walking antennas.
We are already walking antennas. That's what the nanotechnology
Absolutely.
behind this is. And if you have a look, 100%, this is the fire coming down from heaven and what they're planning on also doing to the population. I'll hand the mic back.
No, it's massively altering our DNA, for sure. Oh, I think I lost you.
it's your turn, Santos. I think we're waiting for you. We all take turns. Is Santos there?
Did we lose him?
He's run
might
off
have
to have a bath. The itchy got too much. Your turn, Santos.
Sorry, guys, I had the mute on. I thought I was being heard.
Yeah, I'm getting cut out on this computer all the time.
You are, you get it.
I'll mute and let you go again, Santos.
Yeah, well, I think the remedies and protocols are our best best bet right now to fight this. I'm finding essential oils are helping as well. Drops of frankincense and myrrh, like you suggested there, Michelle. Oregano, peppermint in my lemon juice. I'm finding citrus every day is helpful. So that helps with the fungus as well. And it's pretty much like what the terps does. The terps is like that. It's an essence. It's a essential oil, really, from the pine tree. So that that helps. But I do recommend enemas a couple a week. I do 3 in a row. The coffee enema is always the middle one. I always start with just a warm water enema with a little bit of salt, a pinch of sea salt, and then or Epsom salts or bicarb soda, and then I'll do a coffee enema in the middle, and the last one will be one with essential oils, some soothing essential oils, warm water. It's always warm water, and that takes me about an hour and a half to get through all my enemas. Haven't done any for a couple of weeks, been distracted with other things, but ready to get back into that as well with my fasting coming up. So those are the best things that I'm doing for me.
That sounds good. That sounds really good. I'm using a lot of binders to bind out the toxins. What I do is I rotate them. like Michelle mentioned, you can take the clay internally, like they sell bentonite clay. You can take that internally. That pulls out a lot of toxins, especially if you've been exposed to mold, and you should definitely have your HVAC system checked, your air conditioning heating system checked to see if there's mold lurking in there. Another place that's common is underneath the fridge. I cover a lot of mold issues on Healing Well under my handle Chicken Arise, and I have a long list of information there on mold and what you can do to combat mold. Modified citrus pectin is another great binder supplement that you can use. Activated charcoal, as Michelle mentioned, is a great binder. You just want to take it away from everything else in your medicines. There's something called gluconamine that you can take, and there's chitin, but chitin's from seafood, so if you don't take seafood, you'll want to avoid the chitin. But all these are great binders to pull out the toxins.
Just one thing with the bentonite clay, I take zeolite. I don't bother taking the bentonite
That's
clay
another good
internally
binder. Zeolite.
because I take zeolite. Now, the reason you take zeolite over the bentonite clay is you're being filled with lead, and zeolite is one of the few things that will expel lead. Now, I have a video on the lead and why they're putting it into you on this site, but I will tell you it is bad in you. They do not want this information out, or else my video would not be banned in multiple countries. But I do know a lot of people take the clay, but guys, get the zeolite. It is 1,000 times more powerful. It's one of the first protocols I started, and that alone was flushing out unbelievable things. It is far
Sounds
superior
good.
to
I gotta get some zeolite.
to the clay. Far superior to the clay. And it's not that's just a heads up on that. I'll
I also
mute again.
did use cholestyramine as a binder. I was able to get it off of eBay of all places, and it's a prescription, so you don't think you'd be able to get it off of eBay, but I was able to get a box off of eBay. But if you go the natural route, modified citrus pectin is nature's cholestyramine.
Well, I take a lot of juicing with oranges. Now the white, you know that white you get inside the skin of your citrus, that is how to peel the skin, which you can dry, convert into a cleaner, soak in oils as an essential oil, and then eat the pectin. Now, after I juice, I will give some of the orange, juiced orange bits to the chickens, and you see them all eating the white out of it, like the animals even know to do this. The dogs will even get the skins and start eating the white off it. They know how to detox. But, for people with no money, there's a way to save money. You don't need to buy pectin. Eat the white inside of those skins. And you can also get that and splits it up into your juice and drink it that way. Every problem has a solution, and there are cheap ways of doing things.
Very good,
So
very good.
I'll mute it.
Go ahead, Santos.
Well, I don't know what else to contribute, really. I don't have a vast repertoire of remedies here. I am implementing ones that I'm learning off your channel, Michelle, Morgellons Live. So I'm slowly doing that, like the Devil's Claw. I'll be having a bit of that. Colloidal silver that you gave me. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm limited to the things that I've just previously mentioned, really. I'm sure there's other things. I do take modified citrus pectin. I take that from who's the guy? Scott Collins in New South Wales here, a local guy. I'm going to have some of these products available on my website soon. Tissue salts, the Schussler tissue salts, modified citrus pectin, bowel cleansers. Once I get organized on my website, I'll have some of those things available, or at least you can click on the websites that will be connected to mine. At least I'll have that. And I've also got Spagerics available on my website as well. There's a guy in America who's making them. That is the top level healing that you could possibly do. Spagerics, because they are the complete healing system. Essential oil, they're basically just essential oils with added minerals. Essential oils are great, of course, but the added minerals come from the calcination process or the burning of the plant matter. So if you make a tea, for instance, let's say you make a dandelion tea, well, the water is now extracting the essential oils from the plant, and you drink that as a tea. Well, the alchemist will then dry that that plant matter and then put it in the oven and dry it, burn it, and turn it into a white powder. It's like a, you know, like being cremated. In fact, that's how Schussler discovered the cell salts in the first place. He was studying the cremated remains of animals and humans, and he found that there were just 12 salts, the 12 tissue salts. And so, and then of course 100 years after that, George Airy, the astrologer, he found that each one of them related to your astrological sign. So, for instance, potassium phosphate belongs to Aries, sodium sulfate, Taurus, potassium chloride, Gemini. And he found that each one of us are deficient in 3 salts. Because we're in the mother's womb for 9 months, we haven't completed the full ecliptic. The sun has not gone through all the signs. So when you're born, you'll be deficient in the sign that you're born under. So in my case, I was born in Aries, March the 24th. So I'm deficient in potassium phosphate and the 2 next signs, Taurus and Gemini. And so that's what a spageric is. It's not just the cell salt with the minerals in it, but it's the 3 parts that in alchemy are called mercury, sulfur, and salt. Mercury would be the alcohol that you use, the spirit that you use in your tinctures. The sulfur would be the essential oil, the soul of the plant. But the body of the plant is usually neglected, the calcinated minerals. So, you know, there's a link there on my website for spagerics, and you can click on I think there's 9 or 12 varieties there, and you can click on each one to see what benefits you get from them. And that is the most supercharged healing protocol ever, spagerics. So it's a 1 step up from essential oils. Of course, essential oils are easy to get, and you know, more cheaper and readily available, I guess. Spagerics aren't that dear too. They're I think they're only $15 a bottle, and you just put a few drops in your water every day. And And the tissue salts, of course, would be another modality of healing, another protocol. I've made presentations on the cell salts and how you can administer them through knowledge of your astrology. So that's about the whole complete range of things. I'm sure there are, as I said, other things, but I just can't think of them right now that are very useful. I mean, if I had a list, I probably should have done a list of all the things that I do, but they wouldn't be as effective as what you know, Michelle. I mean, you knocked it over in 6 months. I've been dealing with this for probably about 20 years, maybe more. The sleepless nights has been pretty much decades, 3 decades at least. As I said, I remember in 2002, 2003, I had 2 bad years there, and I was taking sleeping pills. Still knocks. They knock you out in about 10 minutes. The moment you take one of those, you have to be horizontal because you just don't know when you're just going to collapse. Very, very effective, but very damaging.
Oh, guys, do not listen to these pharma monkey doctors. They will kill you, and their products will kill you. All their products are made from natural herbs and plants. So go straight to the source. We'll get you feeling a lot better, Santos. I promise you. We really will.
Yeah. I must admit, the
No,
pharmas are total poisons. But when I used them, I was just trying to poison the invaders a little faster than I would poison myself.
but
But I
I
know
do
they're poisons.
it's a bit like I found this aspect of it, but secretly it's growing another aspect. Like, I will not touch the zappers. I'm terrified of them. I used a Don Croft zapper. I've showed you on a video, and I sat there and watching bugs out of me because it was feeding another element of it. I mean, that was just the most distressing day of my life when I saw that. And I knew immediately that the zapper had done that to me. It had fed an aspect. So please be careful what you listen to, guys. No matter how they stand up and pretend they know something and they're on your side, ask for discernment from your creator.
Absolutely. I have to be getting
It was
going
given.
in a little bit here, guys. But
Well, I was just about to say, Clint, we've been going for 2 hours. I know Santos isn't feeling his best today, so we might sign off. To everyone listening, thanks for coming. We haven't planned a definite when we're going to be on. Or so we're due to do a live, and we will let you know it's happening on each of our channels. Clint and Sand are panel members, so they're not like fly-by-night guest guys, and they're both here because they've got a lot of input, a lot of knowledge, and a lot of help that they will both be able to give you. We are here making no money, and we're here to do nothing but try and help you all. So,
well, thank you, Santos. Thank you, Michelle. It was great doing this with you guys, and I look forward to the next one.
And we'll be doing another one soon. And Santos, stop being so modest. You've contributed a lot today. You wouldn't be here if you didn't have things to say to help people. You've got a lot to say, and you've got a lot of scriptural knowledge. So I thank you both. And,
thank you.
Thank you very much. And hopefully we'll get a better internet feed next time. There was a bit of choppiness there, I guess, but hey, we do our best. Hopefully next time we'll have a better one because there's a lot of valuable information here. This is very, very important. the war is on. There's no doubt about it. It's a spiritual war, and what they do is they start with debilitating the body. They've been doing it for years. All these plagues, bubonic plagues, black plagues that you've been hearing about. If you read the book The Gods of Eden by William Bramley, you will see that he's a very switched-on researcher, and he's found that it's all from the elites. For thousands of years, they've been plaguing us with plagues, folks. Your immune system,
Since the flood.
the immune system is your best bet to build up. You can't do it with the vaccines. You have to do it with herbs and minerals and natural things. So that's it for me, and look forward to the next one.
All right, love you guys. Have a great night.
Love yous all. Thanks for being here, everyone. And we'll be doing another live stream soon. Much love to everyone.
Bye-bye.